This full moon is speaking of that there is a vision within each of us that is unique. And we're asked to tap into that vision that maybe no one else can see, but you know deep within that it's a unique aspect of yourself. And that may be the aspect of yourself that's connected to the cosmos and the all. This full moon is an inner expansion of what is possible. And while we have a world that is sometimes confusing and disruptive at the moment, this vision within ourselves, each one of us, is a stable force that is leading us forward and that can only be experienced on the inside. Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Gemini full moon at 23 degrees 53 minutes on December 15th, 2024. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put a outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And that is to help us expand beyond our current understanding of our multidimensional self. And this is a reading that may expand you into other perspectives in addition to what you may have learned traditionally. What you'll receive in this video are three energetic themes that I've pulled out from the full moon chart that I see are key to this full moon and its energy signature. And also at the end, I'll share three questions should you want to integrate this full moon energy some more. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the description box below. And if you're curious about 2025 galactic astrology, check out the link below for my new program, 2025 Galactic Astrology Forecast, a multidimensional energy forecast that is now available. And I will be hosting a Q&A end of January where I'm going to answer all your questions on the 2025 galactic astrology material. So I hope to see you there. This is a full moon conjunct the Orion Nebula at 23 degrees of Gemini. And the Orion Nebula is so powerful. We're going to talk more about the Orion Nebula in the first energetic theme that is coming up next. The full moon is opposite asteroid Eros, conjunct the sun. And that combination of the Orion Nebula and asteroid Eros is an interesting combination. The ruler of this full moon is Mercury, stationing direct on the day of the full moon on December 15th. This is a highlight for this full moon in terms of Mercury's messages coming in. And Mercury is opposite the star cluster of Hyades, which is at 6 degrees of Gemini. Mercury is delivering some really important messages, and we're going to talk more about Mercury as we proceed into this video. This full moon is an imaginary one. The reason I say that is that the third decan of Gemini, where the full moon is taking place, is ruled by Uranus, the cosmic awakener and the connection to cosmic consciousness. And also, Uranus is the higher expression of Mercury, the ruler of this full moon. So there's a strong connection to Uranus at this full moon, and that makes it so much more imaginary, visionary, if you will. A moon in Gemini is often very busy, and it takes a lot of multitasking. But this full moon is different. There is something that wants to be expressed within ourselves in a new way. This full moon is a prime time to connect back with this imagery within the dreams, the hopes that we have, and stay resilient, allowing those dreams, that imagery within ourselves, what we know is possible, that may be unique to us as we move into such a powerful year in 2025. This full moon is taking place in the third decan of Gemini, connected to the rulership of Uranus of that decan, of course. And that is the combination between a cosmic consciousness and the spiritual aspects of ourselves. Mercury's rulership here of this full moon is supporting us to develop and expand those visions within ourselves that are so unique to ourselves and that wants to be expressed. Often we dig ourselves down deep in troubles or disruptions or distractions by going to the minutia of things, and that takes us into often polarity. But this full moon is encouraging us to imagine also a bigger picture of what's going on within our lives, but also in our environment. This vision of yours that you carry within, now it's time to connect with it and expand it, put some more color to it in your imagination. Because as we move into 2025, we are asked to align ourselves with that supreme vision within ourselves and keep it close to our vest as we move into 2025 and beyond, walking through some perhaps turbulent times. This full moon speaks of, at the very highest level, many of us have the same vision and same imagery of what is possible. And it may ultimately also become one shared perspective and vision that is taking our human evolution forward. So if your dreams and visions seems too big, they're not. So at this full moon, allow your imagination to flow, because now it's a seed for the future, and allow yourself to sit with it and allow it to bloom. Before we take a look at the full moon chart, I'd like to share what the three energetic themes are. The first theme is believe in your big vision. And here we're going to talk about the Orion Ring Nebula M52 and the fixed stars BetaCentauri and Bootes-Arcturus. The second theme is from follower to future leader. And here we're going to talk about Fomalhaut, the royal star Fomalhaut, and also dwarf planets Ixion and Gonggong and asteroid Pallas. The third theme is cosmic manifestation support. And here we're going to talk about the fixed star Titawin in the Andromeda constellation, and also the influence from Venus and true Lilith at this full moon. All right, let's take a look at the full moon chart. So here we have the full moon chart, and the moon here at 23 degrees 53 minutes in Gemini in the third decan, conjunct Orion Nebula M42, opposite the sun at 23 degrees of Sagittarius, conjunct the asteroid Eros. And this is an interesting combination of energies that we're going to talk more about in theme number one. But we also have the ruler Mercury here in opposition to his sign of rulership, Gemini, and in retrograde. This brings an influence on us to stay introverted, more introverted than normal, but also in our big picture vision type of energy. And this full moon is highlighting our need to go higher in terms of our perspectives. And in a retrograde here, this is also an inner expansion of those perspectives or our imagination of what's really possible. Mercury in opposition to hiatus here. Hiatus is a energy that we talked about in the last video, the new moon Sagittarius video. But if you recall, this is a life force creativity type of infusion. So in opposition to Mercury here, the influence on us from hiatus star cluster at this time is that to lean on our sense of creativity, where everything is possible. Hiatus star cluster is that infusion of life force, of creativity that often is happening when a personal planet like Mercury is in play and in alignment with the hiatus star cluster. In opposition here and in retrograde, this is an inner infusion of creativity that we're asked to connect with. And that may be the fuel that we need at this time to think bigger, think more expansive than we've ever done before. And with Mercury's presence here in the first decan of Sagittarius, the first 10 degrees is the first decan, which means that we are invited to imagine also what we would like to put into form. The first decan has to do with the physical, and this is also a invitation to allow ourselves to become more grounded in our way of imagining. Maybe we're taking it even so further into how we're going to bring an idea into form, for example, at this time. And it may be a seed that is planted within you at this time of something that you'd like to bring forward in form in the physical world in 2025 and beyond. You may also get these inner visions, maybe even 1, 2 days before this full moon, because the moon is going to connect with Uranus and Jupiter and hiatus also on its way to this alignment with the sun that builds the full moon. But those alignments are happening, let's say, a day or two before the full moon. So take a couple of days here around surrounding the full moon to tune into that bigger vision within yourself. All right, let's take a look at the first energetic theme now. Believe in your big vision. So here we have the first theme, believe in your big vision. And here you can see there's a mystic rectangle. I also call it the box, and we have the moon conjunct Orion Nebula and the sun conjunct asteroid Eros, as we just talked about. We also have a trine from the full moon to Vesta there at 22 degrees of Libra, conjunct the fixed star Arcturus. And we also have a trine from the sun to Eris at 24 degrees of Aries. And of course, a mystic rectangle also have sextiles. So from the sun and Eros there up to Vesta, and also from the full moon to Eris. This mystic rectangle speaks of a big vision. So first, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the Orion Nebula M42. The Orion Nebula is part of the Orion constellation here, and I've highlighted the nebula M42 here on the sky map. The Orion Nebula is associated with evolutionary energy from a perspective of birthing new souls, birthing new stars. This is a hot place for expansion and adding to the experience as the universe is expanding and evolving. Now, Orion Nebula is also associated with the need to learn discernment, the need to increase our trust rather than distrust. Orion constellation has a very much a polarity theme, duality theme, and which many times when I see someone's chart is having a conjunction to the Orion Nebula, for example, may indicate that that soul may not have incarnated, for example, on Earth as many times, that this individual at the soul level is here for first, second, third time, and that there is a process around learning how to trust, that there's a process around learning through polarity and the emotional wave, for example. I also put in asteroid Eros here and an image of asteroid Eros. Eros many times are spoken of in terms of passion. And in this full moon, I interpret asteroid Eros energy conjunct the sun as a true highlight to tap into that inner passion even more. It may even come from a new, fresh idea or perspective that you're bringing in for the first time at this full moon. But there's more to this theme in addition to the mystic rectangle. And we have Vesta and the Sun and Eros engaged in a yod with Uranus here, the ruler of the third decan of Gemini, where the full moon is taking place. So this is a important guidance that is pointing to Uranus's influence at this full moon. Uranus at 24 degrees now of Taurus opposite the fixed star BetaCentauri Hadar in the Centaurus constellation is an important message. And if we put all of this together, we have a powerful, visionary, imaginary, expansive energy signature that is rooted in unconditional love. The full moon in Gemini here, conjunct the Orion Nebula, highlighting the new birth of something. There's evolutionary energy present at this full moon. And also, the Sun conjunct Eros is highlighting that inner passion that we're asked to connect with. Eros has his bow and arrow, and we're asked to kind of become even more clear about that inner vision, connecting with our imagination to let ourselves soar for a moment here at this full moon. We have Vesta. Vesta is that inner spark that brings us home, that makes us feel comfortable, that makes us feel like we are at home with ourselves. And conjunct Bootes-Arcturus. Arcturus is also evolutionary energy. Part of the Arcturus energy is to lead us forward on the path of humanity's evolution. And Vesta opposite Aries in Aries at 24 degrees is suggesting that we are invited to tap into that vision, that spark with no restrictions and allowing any limitations that we may put on ourselves and let those go, because Aries is that unapologetic, authentic, divine feminine energy within ourselves that takes no for an answer and doesn't hesitate to stir the pot because she can see, Eris as an energy can see where we need to transform, and she does not stop. And lastly, Uranus's guidance here in Taurus is asking us to stay grounded in this vision and believing it, because opposite BetaCentauri Hadar, it's all founded and grounded in unconditional love. This formation here is a significant call for tapping into what we truly believe in when it comes to our visions, our imagination. And this is also a unrestricted energy. So this is going beyond our comfort zone, going beyond what we think is possible. We are in the process of building a foundation that is based in creativity, based in what we truly believe in is possible. When we believe something is possible, it's on its way to become into form. So to further emphasize this, we have BetaCentauri there highlighted on the sky map, and also Vesta and Aries in imagery here to tune into the unconditional love that is infused through the opposition of Uranus and BetaCentauri Hadar is an important balancing act here. This is third decan energy. It's spiritual energy. This mystic rectangle and this yod is really helping us to stay in a very high vision, big picture, and create that for ourselves to lean on beyond what we see in the physical world. Yeah. So, wow, believe in your big vision. Now is the time to tap into how you are stepping into the next level. And this full moon is here to facilitate that process for yourself within. So now in December, I know it's busy and very hectic for many. How can you carve out some time to sit with this, to expand your vision for what's coming next? So each one of us know what area of our life is due to expand next. And often it can be something that we have been coming back to over and over and over again. So it's a topic on top of your mind. It's nothing completely new. Your soul already knows where you're going next. Our job is to bring it into our consciousness here in human form. So, next, let's take a look at the second energetic theme that I've called From Follower to Future Leader. So here we have the second theme that I've called From Follower to Future Leader. Here we have a focus on Mars. Mars is now in retrograde since December 6th. And here what we can see is a grand fire trine involving the ruler of this full moon, Mercury, there at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, and also the North Node at 2 degrees 57 minutes in Aries. And the North Node is moving closer and closer to the sign of Pisces here. But this is one of the last hurrahs in Aries here. And this is an important grand fire trine in the first decan, the early degrees of the fire signs here. The North Node is opposite the supergalactic center at 2 degrees of Libra. And of course, the South Node is conjunct the supergalactic center. And we also have Mercury, as we talked about before, opposite the hiatus star cluster at 6 degrees of Gemini. Mars is in retrograde all the way until 23rd of February 2025. So this is going to be a journey for Mars. And since Mars will travel now, returning back to the early degrees of Leo and into the third decan of Cancer, and ending the retrograde at 17 degrees of Cancer, conjunct Sirius A. So, this grand fire trine also is inviting us to allow that personal perspective to be fired up, encouraging us to stay with this inner vision, this inner imagery, because the personal planets, Mercury ruling this full moon, but also Mars in retrograde now since December 6th, all the way through to February 23rd of 2025. Mars will move into Cancer on January 6th, 7th in 2025. So between now and let's say January 6th, this is an opportune time to stay and expand this inner vision of what is driving your passion. What is the area where you want to expand in 2025 and beyond? This is also linked into the direction forward. The North Node here also wrapping up in early degrees here of Aries. This is a call to now step into this formulation of something that is becoming clearer and clearer for you. The early degrees of the fire signs are very much physical, right? It's something that you likely are now taking steps to embody as well. So between now and January 6th, 7th, 2025 is a great time to sit with this, prioritize time to allow your imagination to flow, because this grand fire trine is engaging your creativity through that opposition with Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, and hiatus star cluster, and also the North Node's opposition to the supergalactic center is bringing in that multi-dimensional perspective, taking you beyond what you currently believe is possible. And to emphasize Mars's role in this some more is that we have a yod also in place here at this full moon. And if we look at the dwarf planet Ixion there at 5 degrees of Capricorn now, conjunct Pallas Athene, the asteroid Pallas Athene. And we also have Gonggong, the dwarf planet Gonggong, at 4 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the royal star Fomalhaut, building a yod pointing to Mars here. This highlights further Mars's role in stepping into our heart at this time to let our creative visions, our imagery come from the heart and not trying to figure it out with our mind. The guidance from the heart is our cosmic truth. So Mars is here in retrograde to help us activate that heart consciousness. So here we have Fomalhaut, the royal star Fomalhaut, also associated with Archangel Gabriel type of energy, which is very much linked into our creativity. And we also have Gonggong here and Ixion. I highlighted them as you may have seen this image before. And we also have Pallas Athene here, who's conjunct Ixion. This is an energy signature of spiritual sovereignty. Ixion is Pluto's brother, who is encouraging us to step into and following our bliss over anything else, letting our uniqueness shine through. And in combination with Pallas Athene here, this is a powerful, powerful, sovereign energy that is supporting Mars's journey here through this yod. Gonggong conjunct Fomalhaut is the self mastery through sovereignty and angelic support. Ixion conjunct Pallas Athene here is that energy signature of a future leader, someone who know their uniqueness, someone who embraces their convictions and is that spiritual warrior. Now, Fomalhaut conjunct Gonggong here at 5 degrees of Pisces is also grounded in self mastery and sovereignty. So, this all taken together with the ruler of this full moon, Mercury, stationing direct on December 15th, is a massive energy signature, all pointing at the role of Mars here, returning to the early degrees of Leo, bringing in that heart centered leadership. We are now encouraged to step into believing in our vision that it comes from within and take that next step further into leadership of the future. Around this time, last weeks of December, there are many lights going off in terms of stepping into new leadership roles, new ways of expressing ourselves that helps others to also get their light on. This wave of new leadership cannot be ignored. And when Mars is returning to an opposition to Pluto, there at 0 degree of Aquarius, that is a highlight of such seeding of new leadership here on Earth. So that first week of January, when Mars is approaching that 0 degree of Leo, is one to watch out for. Yes, this is a seeding time for new self mastery, a new wave of leaders coming in and finding their voice, their expression. And Mars retrograde is very much in charge of that seeding, very much support from Pluto. So, this time may be a time where your perspective around what leadership is changing. And what we have called before a leader is something else now. Now, it's also about self perception. We all are asked to be grounded in our own leadership, self mastery, first of all. And once that self mastery is in place, we are asked to share our unique expression with others and finding our soul groups where we are fitting just right in like a glove. So these last 2 weeks of December is a discovery time for many and clarity time for many. And with Mercury stationing direct, it's a highlight. And with Mars in retrograde, we are given this opportunity the last 2 weeks now of December to discover more about our expanded, authentic, independent path forward next. If you have this sense around this time, this full moon, that, oh, I'm just going to go for it, this is your sign. The leaders of the future are stepping forward. All right, let's take a look at the third energetic theme, cosmic manifestation support. Next. So here we have the third theme that I called cosmic manifestation support. And here we are going to continue to talk about Mars, but also to highlight Venus and Venus's role, because she has had a significant role leading up to this full moon. And here I have pulled in also, as you can see at the bottom there, Ceres at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So we have a trio of significant influence here. Venus has been collecting information about the future. She has traveled the first decan of Aquarius and gathered information about what it takes to step into that next future. So on December 7th, Venus conjuncted Pluto there at 0 degree of Aquarius, and Pluto is still conjunct Lyra Alatfar. Lyra Alatfar is associated with that liberation, yearning for peace type of energy. Lyra Alatfar is influencing us through Pluto to have the courage it takes to address injustice, for example. And then we had Venus sextiling the North Node on December 10th, taking in information about what it takes to step into that next direction. And then on December 12th, we had that opposition between Venus and Mars retrograde at 6 degrees of Leo. So that was a balancing point of divine feminine, divine masculine energy, but also directed towards outward type of balance. And then on December 13th, there was a sextile between Mercury retrograde and Venus at 7 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is the path of Venus leading now up to her being at 9 degrees of Aquarius. And do you see what I see too? At this full moon, we have a kite formation with Mars opposite this trio, Pluto, Ceres, and Venus. Ceres is often spoken of when it comes to harvest and abundance. Now, Ceres conjunct Lyra Alatfar is bringing in the importance of taking care of ourselves, how we nurture ourselves as part of this process. Ceres conjunct Lyra Alatfar has to do with that courage, the courage to nurture ourselves in times where we are seeing transformation like this. Stepping into the future and stepping into something new does take a focus on ourselves. In this new leadership energy, there is an element of boundaries, of self nurturing that is a must. And Ceres is here to remind us that that is part of the transformational energy that is infusing the new leadership on Earth. Because all of this, their opposite Mars in retrograde, is the connection to our heart that this self nurturing energy is coming from. So the balancing within ourselves of these energies are highlighted very much at this full moon. But there's more. So if we go back to Venus, Venus is making a T-square with true Lilith at 9 degrees of Scorpio and Andromeda-Titawin at 8 degrees of Taurus. This is an important growth opportunities. Often T-squares, the way I interpret them, is a signature of growth. and where we may need to step out of our comfort zone. So here we have the Andromeda constellation. I just want to mention a little bit about Andromeda-Titawin here. Andromeda-Titawin is associated with that spiritual warrior energy, but for the purposes to bring in harmony and establishing boundaries to allow that harmony to flow. And the energy of true Lilith is our uniqueness within that we are that we don't want to restrict. So, part of this energy in terms of this T square with Venus is highlighting the need to step into our feminine energy and allowing us to apply boundaries to allow that harmony to exist where our unique expression can come through. This T square is highlighting also the importance of this energy to come forth for the direction that we're going in as part of the Aquarian age. Venus in Aquarius has gathered quite a lot of information, both from Mercury, from the North Node, from Mars, the past couple of weeks here. And now at this full moon, there is a conclusion, a T square, in terms of where do we need to put in more effort to grow into our leadership next. But there's more. We also have another mystic rectangle, another box in this full moon chart. This mystical rectangle that you see here is based from the nodes, the North Node and South Node, opposite and conjunct the supergalactic center, which is a really important guide for us at this time. The supergalactic center has a big role in ushering in harmony, justice, balance, all of that. But also now the Pluto Ceres opposition to Mars here is part of this mystic rectangle, bringing in the harmony and the balance of what needs to come together to build that the next level of cosmic manifestation support. This is the support we all need to be able to move into that higher vibration, that higher next level that many of us are moving into, whether we are ready or not. As Mars moves closer to that 0 degree of Leo, and as the nodes are closing in on that 0 degree of Aries and Libra, respectively, this is the galactic signature of cosmic manifestation support that we are all entering next in the Aquarian age. So that first week of January, January 6th, 7th, 8th, around there, when Mars retrograde is hitting that 0 degree of Leo, and also the North Node, South Node is approaching that 0 degree of Aries and Libra, respectively, that is a significant time where this mystical rectangle or box is in high gear. So, this is a key time to set the stage for 2025 and beyond. So, yes, this is a significant full moon where we are encouraged to flow free with our imagination, allowing the cosmos to support us and building a view, a big picture vision for what's coming next for us individually, but also our communities and the collective. Many of us are here to be future leaders of the coming decades. And now there's seeding ground for this, allowing us to put in place a bigger vision, connecting in other ways, downloading new ideas and inspirations that we may never before have connected with. But take this opportunity around the new year here, the last 2 weeks of December, and the first week, second week of January to be a very special time and expanding awareness and consciousness. Venus continues to have a significant role as part of leading our future forward. And I have many times highlighted Venus as a future leader. There's something significant about Venus's journey that is providing us with cosmic support. And we will continue to monitor Venus's path forward here in Aquarius. We're all very supported and tuning into that cosmic truth within to form that seed of what can be, the thing that pulls us through the next couple of years. So, I have a couple of questions. Should you want to integrate this Gemini full moon energy some more? The first question is, what would you like to bring forth within yourself if there were no limitations, no ifs, no buts, no nothing, only potential? What would your vision look like? And this could be a vision within yourself, your big vision within any area of your life that you feel compelled to explore. And if you want to elevate this vision, your imagination, don't keep it just within. Write it down or share it with someone you trust. The second question is, how can your vision or imagination become reality? Now, Uranus is guiding us in Taurus here to help us ground this vision of yours because your uniqueness is what shines through your body. And Uranus here, the ruler of the third decan of Gemini, where the moon is opposite BetaCentauri, is helping us to ground it. Uranus guidance here as the ruler of the third decan, where the moon is now in Gemini, is helping us to ground this. BetaCentauri Hadar is inviting us to use our love for ourselves and others to ground this vision of yours and believe in it. What is the one step that you'd like to take now or early 2025 in January towards this vision? The third question is, how can you see your vision in a bigger perspective? How can you take it into your community, your friend group, or the whole? How does your vision merge with the needs of others? Because this is taking our focus off of ourselves from I to we. And that is the true elevation and the message of this full moon. How can we bring it into a shared perspective? So, hopefully, you find these questions useful. Download the Galactic Alignments Reference Guide, which is a free handout that I offer, or sign up for the 2025 Galactic Astrology Forecast program and come join us in January for the 2025 Galactic Astrology Q&A. Both links are available in the description box below. So this was the Gemini full moon galactic astrology reading. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your beautiful comments that you leave for me. And I love the conversation we're having on YouTube and on the podcast. This was the 3 themes: believe in your big vision, from follower to future leader, and cosmic manifestation support. Thank you so much. I can't wait to come back with another video for you. And that would be the last video of 2024 for the new moon in Capricorn on December 30th. So I can't wait to see you then. Bye.